Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Invasive Species, the series where we run Kanto, Mons, and Hoenn, and Hoenn, Mons, and Kanto. The dark types are always a fun time in Kanto because the region is not equipped to deal with them at all, and I'm pretty sure that Absol is going to shred this area. But before we dive into specifics, here's a quick rundown of the rules, and you can find them outlined in great detail in the description below. Taking a look at Absol's base stats makes me feel pretty confident. Now, most of these stats are mediocre, but that base 130 attack is awesome. And while there are mons that are definitely faster than Absol, that 75 base speed on its own, it's workable. What about its level up moves? Well, I see Swords Dance on there, and know we're in for a real easy time once we get it, but nothing else here really strikes me as great. I mean, Slash is good, but we'll have better via our TM selection, and speaking of which, this is a solid list. I actually had to zoom out to capture this whole thing. Combined with Swords Dance and Return, Absol's gonna pretty much annihilate anything that doesn't resist normal type moves. The coverage is awesome as a whole, and we can make use of the pre-physical special split with Shadow Ball, because Game Freak logic, all ghost moves are dictated by physical, and that allows Absol to have a great answer for Agatha's ghosts. Absol's dark type moves are also super effective, but dark type moves are special in Gen 3. So we're definitely going to want to get our hands on a Shadow Ball TM. You know the TM list is good when you see Calm Mind on there and you're like, nah, I'll pass. Now, as per the rules that were on the screen, we have access to a single egg move, and I gotta say, Absols are okay, nothing to write home about, but our choice egg move will help us get by Brock easy so we can get to the first actual gym leader in Cerulean City. Nothing on here really strikes my fancy. I mean, Double Edge is awesome, but we can get that from a move tutor if we really want it. Overall, I think it's just safer to go with Return. It's a bit weaker, but no recoil. Feint Attack might be special in Gen 3, but Absol does get the same type of attack bonus from it, and it's a solid answer for Pewter City's Benchwarmer as well as Misty's Ace. And you want to know what else is awesome? We can bypass Sand Attack with this, so that's always nice. That means the beginning of the game is going to be an absolute breeze. Anytime we can bypass Sand Attack, whether through a move like Feint Attack or the Keen Eye ability, or something like Clear Body, which Torkoal, we'll be running him later, gets access to, that's amazing. I hate Sand Attack. You would never think that such an ordinary move would be so annoying, but in solo challenges, it might as well be the most overpowered move in the game. Anyway, nothing to see here, let's get to Cerulean City. Making our way on to Cerulean City, we're going to do what we usually do, get the rare candy in the backyard, we'll heal up, and I'm thinking that the best course of action right now is to fight Misty. Now, we'll go ahead and battle the trainers in her gym to get a little bit more experience points, because we might have a super effective move for Starmie, but we're going to be under-leveled while we fight her, and Starmie is pretty damn strong, especially at this point in the game. But make no mistake, this is basically an Absol versus Starmie battle. Without further ado, let's get our second badge. I mean, Staryu could confuse us off a Water Pulse, but judging by that damage, that's not bound to happen, and down it goes. And why would I bring up Water Pulse's confusion? Because that's exactly how we lose this first attempt. Yeah, what is that, a 20% chance? We are definitely good enough to beat this fight just by spamming Feint Attack. That's pretty irritating, though. The good news is that we can always get to Starmie easily, and in this attempt here, shock of all shocker, we don't get confused off of Water Pulse, are dealing awesome damage, guaranteed 2-shot every time, you'll love to see it. Now, the Cerulean rival typically is annoying because of Pidgeotto Sand Attack, but because we have Feint Attack and it targets special defense in this game, this should be a simple first try. Famous last words, am I right? And even if we did, we could get him to waste his turn with Taunt, because Taunt makes them use only direct damaging attacks, so no Sand Attack, no Whirlwind, nothing like that. And while we won't keep it the entire run, Bite will be pretty useful. And we're going to go ahead and use that in this battle here, hope for some flinches, all that good stuff. And I mean, besides Pidgeotto, nothing to worry about in this fight, especially because our rival has a total freebie in the form of Abra. Between Bite and Feint Attack, we have more than enough power points to get to Bill's house, get the SSN ticket, and make our way south. Speaking of which, we're going to cut straight to that and battle our rival here. Now, having Taunt is awesome because we can totally screw Pidgeotto out of using Sand Attack for that turn, but even better, in this fight we have Swords Dance, and this run is about to get much, much easier, especially because we got Secret Power on the way to Bill's house. And once you get Swords Dance, it's a matter of setting up as many times as you feel is necessary, 1 to 3, moving your cursor over to Secret Power, and just keep hitting the button every time it comes up, and you win. I mean, I know that's a complex strategy here, but we're using Absol, so we really gotta think outside the box. While we're here in Vermilion, might as well battle Lieutenant Surge. We'll go ahead and check our time here. We are at 1 hour and 4 minutes. That's not too bad. a bit slower than I'd like, but we've had to use our special attack mostly up until the SS and Rival, which is not really going to be a thing going forward. And the fact we're faster than Voltorb guarantees that we're going to get to Raichu. Another reason Secret Power is so good for this fight is that it's a non-contact move, so there's no fear of static, although he does have Thunder Wave that can be annoying. Interestingly, after the first taunt, he abandons Thunder Wave and goes for Double Team as we can go and set up Swords Dance, which is kind of awesome. Now, I'll tell you, this is my first time using Taunt anywhere near this much, so I'm trying to figure out how it works as well. Pikachu is the perfect Pokemon to experiment on. You gotta reapply it. It's not like Torment where you have to select a different move every time. I don't know how it works in modern gens, but in Gen 3 it only seems to last the turn that you use it, which is fine, really. Once we take down Surge, we're gonna go straight to Erica with Swords Dance and a Sherry Berry to block Paralysis and Aerial Ace. Yeah, this fight is no problem. I love that Victory Bell missed the first one. That was just icing on the cake. Game Corner Giovanni is perfect for us because he leads off with Onix. We're going to go and set up all of our Swords Dance here. We kept Feint Attack just for fights like this, where we don't have a really good answer for high physical defense Pokemon, besides Hidden Power Fighting, which I do not yet have. But yeah, fully set up, you know the strategy from here. With +6 to our attack, we can use Secret Power, which does great damage to Rhydon, and obviously one-shots Kangaskhan. We're going to swing on over to Lavender Tower and get that Sylph Scope so we can go ahead and make progress with the second half of the game. Now, Absol has been absolutely dominant here in Kanto, and this fight here, shockable shocker, is no exception. However, going forward, we're going to be facing much higher level opponents like Koga at the Poison Gym, the Silphco rival with a fully evolved team. That's going to be hard for sure. Our Dark typing is why he's sending out his Psychic types last, and that has me pretty excited for fighting Sabrina. And speaking of Silphco, I'm thinking that's exactly where we're gonna go, because then we can unlock Sabrina's gym in case we want to face her a little bit early. Will Absol's Reign of Terror come to an end, or is its streak going to continue? Let's find out. Now, Taunt will be important in this fight. He doesn't have Sand Attack, but he does have Whirlwind, so if we set up too much, he can send us out and bring in one of our HM users, which would be supremely annoying. Now, I am playing it way too safe with these taunts, and that's really costing us here, getting bombarded by a Wing Attack. He's not using Feather Dance or Taunt, and that's our first reset. And as we get crit by Wing Attack, there's our second reset. Sorry about that. Wait, why am I apologizing for RNG? Well, getting past Pidgeot's cool. We know Gyarados is coming out second. We have to deal with Intimidate, but it was of no consequence. I can't believe we one-shot him. However, Intimidate does affect our damage against Charizard. We don't one-shot him, and we get taken out. If you're curious as to why I chose Charizard, it's because he's the fastest. I think that the speed is more of a detriment to us than Blastoise's bulk would be, and Venusaur obviously doesn't make any sense since we can learn Aerial Ace. But if you saw, Pidgeot did go for Whirlwind, so Taunt did save us there. Down goes Gyarados. Can we one-shot Charizard? Yup, sure can. Execute's weak to Aerial Ace, and Alakazam only has Future Sight as an attacking move, so we win. That wasn't too bad. I was expecting a few resets there. A little conservative in our strategy by using Taunt, but it did pay off in the end, which I do like. As for Silphco Giovanni, typically he's pretty simple. Not going to talk much about this fight, although we do get Poison off a Poison Point, so the fight is a lot closer than it should be. I will say that he should have won because Rhyhorn goes for Scary Face instead of using, like, an attacking move, but that's just Gen 3. It loves status so much. And because we're a Dark-type fighting a Psychic Gym, this fight is hilariously one-sided. You know the fight is easy when the biggest threat is Venomoth with the same type attack bonus Leech Life. We set up Swords Dance against Kadabra, and then sweep the gym. Now, progress is locked behind Koga because we need the Soul Badge in order to use Surf outside of battle. We're going to go ahead and get that. And then after that, head over to the Fuchsia City Gym and battle Koga for hopefully the first and only time. Now, because Koga loves strategies like Smokescreen to drop your accuracy, or minimize on his Muck to raise his evasion, it's not going to be much of a problem here. The only thing we really got to worry about is getting hit by Toxic as we set up Swords Dance. Although this did take a second try, as you saw, we got hit by Self-Destruct. I actually laughed out loud when that happened. A little bit of a Gen 1 throwback there. We'll go ahead and clear the Pokemon Mansion and Cinnabar Island. We're in front of Blaine here. We skipped all of the trainers. We are at 2 hours and 35 minutes. Let's see how we do. He is typically the most difficult trainer, and because we're using a physical attacker, even with Swords Dance, this is going to be hard. And as we set up, we got to worry about getting burned off a Fire Blast, which is exactly why we equipped the Rostberry, and that did come in handy here. Now, one-shotting Ponyta does not surprise me. On the other hand, because of Intimidate, Rapidash getting one-shot does surprise me. Arcanine obviously survives it, and we go down. I could teach Return, but here in Gen 3, TMs are one-time use, so I like to hold on to them as long as possible. And we really only need Fire Blast to miss us a couple of times, which is a little bit easier said than done. It's an 85 accuracy move. But we relied on this strategy before here in this series. Hardly the worst odds we've been up against. Now, if you're curious about these name drops, I have a friend who really likes Absol, so I decided to name drop 2 of his OCs on the trainer and on Absol, and he frequently watches this series. Well, friend who is almost certainly watching, I hope that Absol and I are doing well by your names. Beating Blaine with 4 hit points, I would say that's a pretty cool send-off. Now, as we battle Giovanni for the 3rd and final time, Taunt's gonna come in real handy here. He loves going for Scary Face because of the Gen 3 status loving thing, right? We use Taunt, block him out of Scary Face, and check this out, he's actually gonna go for Earthquake as we set up Swords Dance. I thought that was an interesting little detail. I should have done it again, though. I should have reset there because if we're slower than Nidoqueen, we're gonna get taken out, so just go ahead and reset here. We cannot survive multiple Earthquakes from Nidoqueen, Nidoking, and Dugtrio. And I could go teach Substitute if I really wanted to. Again, I want to hold off on it because in this game, it's a move tutor move, and that functions like a TM. It's a one-time use. And I gotta say, it's kind of fun alternating between Taunt to block him out of Scary Face while we set up, although it's very risky at the same time because we're going to be eating an Earthquake while we're setting up Swords Dance, so very risky. So I bite the bullet, stop being stubborn, and teach Hidden Power Fighting, and, well, there goes Rhyhorn. We have to set up our second one on Nidoqueen. Thankfully, we don't get crit by Earthquake as she goes down. We have Aerial Ace to deal with Nidoking and Dugtrio, and Hidden Power Fighting to deal with the second Rhyhorn, so we now have the Earth Badge. That took quite a few tries, that little fade in there. To get this strategy down, it took me about 15 tries. And again, acknowledging that would have been a first try with Substitute, but I just wanted to do something a little, fun. I thought it was creative. And check this out, we're 2 hours and 48 minutes before the final rival battle before he becomes champion. Now this is just like at Silphca, we're going to alternate Taunt to avoid Whirlwind and Feather Dance when possible, and we're going to celebrate good terms because he's going to have Sand Attack in the final battle. A good old Sand Attack, infamous amongst Pokemon competitive for being a scourge upon the competition. Now Gyarados does survive our onslaught, there's another reset. And I gotta say, I love the time that we're making. As for the commentary, it's a little off-brand from my usual, but our strategy basically is set up Swords Dance and kill things before we get killed, and throw in some Taunt for fun. Though I don't think Taunt's going to be all that useful going forward because the Pokemon are going to be hitting way too hard. We really can't afford to be wasting turns. We're going to set up another Swords Dance on Gyarados because he loves Rain Dance. That's actually bad because Charizard's Flamethrower is much weaker. And I'm sure you've noticed, we finally Taunt Return. Definitely going to need that for the Elite Four and the Champion. We're going to hoof it on over to the leak, use a couple of rare candies, and once we're done with that, go ahead and save right outside here. Check our time at 3 hours and 9 minutes. That's phenomenal. Mawile currently has the fastest time at 3:50, I believe. It's been a while since that run. As we set up, we get crit by Dugong's Ice Beam, so we really have to go on the offensive here, especially because Hail's up. Time is of the essence. Hail won't take us out, but if we don't one-shot everything here, we will get taken out. Well, one-shotting Lapras and Slowbro means Jinx is going down. We're going to try what I call the no-save gauntlet, optional criteria that if we can clear all the trainers here without saving, we get +1 to our rank. If we do it on the first try, that's +2. But we got to get to that point first. Against Bruno with Substitute, it blocks the speed drop from Rock Tomb after our setup. We can go ahead and sweep our way through here. Even if Machamp does survive, we can just attack again and we're good to go, but that doesn't happen. We finish behind the Substitute, looking good. And now for Agatha, we did buy a Shadow Ball TM, plenty of hidden items located throughout Kanto to get it from the game corner. We do have an extra hidden power TM, so I'm not all that concerned. We only need Shadow Ball for this fight. And maybe Lance's Aerodactyl. As we set up against this Gengar here, goes for double team. It's kind of double-edged because it can be hard to hit. Not really this time. Now, we know that Absol has decent speed, however, as we make our way through Golbat and Arbok, the second Gengar actually is faster and breaks our Substitute, but, well, we one-shot it because it's pretty frail, and Shadow Ball in Generation 3 because Game Freak logic uses our physical attack. Now, as far as Lance goes, it's going to be hard to set up on Gyarados because it likes Dragon Rage and has Intimidate. We got to set up a little bit extra. Dragon Rage deals 40 damage and our Substitute takes about 41 from us, so we can tank exactly 1 Dragon Rage. And part of our strategy is going to be baiting Gyarados into using Hyper Beam because any turn it has to recharge we can set up, and then we can reapply Substitute. But we absolutely need one up because Aerodactyl, if Gengar was faster, Aerodactyl's going to be. And check out how low our health is as we take out Gyarados, and it's a good thing that Substitute was up because Aerodactyl would have ended our streak there. We outspeed Dragonite and one-shot it, so that means both of Lance's Dragonair are going to suffer the same fate. You know, if we beat the champion here and now, that means that Absol is going to get +2 to its rank, which is going to be amazing. It's kind of stressful because I'm like, oh man, I gotta make sure I get everything right for this fight, because it would be super cool to have Absol get this high rank. And I mean, Absol is a pretty great Pokemon, and Dark-type in Kanto, so like, a good chunk of trainers, anything with Psychic types, can't really fight it appropriately. Let's hope we don't screw the pooch on this final battle here. Now, I decided to use rare candies, you saw that before, just in case. I don't do calculations or damage rounding thresholds or anything, I just kind of picked a couple and hope for the best here. We have to at least be faster than Pidgeot, and I'm confident that we're going to be. He only has one attacking move in this fight, Aerial Ace, but he has Feather Dance and Sand Attack, so Substitute is absolutely essential here. And what's worse is that Pidgeot can actually destroy our Substitute in one use of Aerial Ace. Again, we're not exactly tanky. As we set up our last Swords Dance, turns out that damage range doesn't actually always destroy our Substitute. We need this for Charizard. As we take out Pidgeot, he sends out Alakazam next to set up our Flex, so we're going to spam Swords Dance until this wears off. That crit on Rhydon probably mattered too. Reflect goes down when Executor comes out, but we take it out. Intimidate is blocked by Substitute, we take out the Gyarados. Substitute blocked Fire Blast, and we one-shot Charizard in return. Oh man, we did it. The first try on the Elite Four, no saving in between. Charizard was the right call because if Substitute wasn't up, unless he missed, very unlikely, we would have gone down, that would have ruined the entire streak. So let's go ahead and tally up Absol's final stats here. I guess statistics works, level 63. Pretty solid, but what about that time? Did we hit 3:30 or sub it? That'd be cool. Well, we finish at 3 hours and 28 minutes. I don't even have a ranking for a sub 3:30. That's pretty amazing. Now, that does lead me to believe there is a Pokemon here in Invasive Species that can actually sub 3:30, maybe even 3 hours. I'm thinking Metagross, that would be the ideal type combo, but I guess we'll find out in due time. Anyway, Absol, level 63 is A tier. Triple S for the time because it broke the it broke the minimum I set. No saving on the first try, that's +2, yeah, easy triple S. Next up is Farfetch'd in Pokemon Ruby, and I'll see you there.